No, I mean, my mom too. She knows the CPA thing, but she's always asking, what audit are you working on right now? And I have to kind of say a lot happened concurrently throughout the year. But to the extent you have those people that do know, and then there's people in public, that's again, especially if you don't have someone at home or outside of work, being in public accounting, everyone's in the same boat.
Hello! This is CPA Career Path Podcast with Rosey Flaherty, CPA MSA, where we dive into thrilling journeys in the world of accounting.
I agree, and I like how you put it, unique way, as each person will have a unique way to pass this CPA exam. It's
Totally.
just like each person will have a unique way in your career path as well.
Totally.
Apply for both. But I want to add one funny story when you mentioned about family support.
Yes.
So my mom, she doesn't speak English. And so when I studied for the CPA exam, and then I told her that I'm studying for the CPA exam, all her mind said it's just about ABC exam. Just easier for her to say.
Totally.
So whenever I came back from the testing, she always asks, "So how was your ABC test?"
Oh, that's so funny. Oh my God. That's hysterical. I mean, yeah, but hey, look, at least she cared and she's asking. I would just say, ABC test went great, Mom. Thanks for asking. But no, I think just having any level of support, again, obviously she was invested in you asking how it went, but maybe she didn't know how important it was for your career in public accounting. But
She's whenever people ask her about what am I doing, and she always say, "Oh, my daughter, she's ABC or counting something." And I was like, "Mom."
that's so fun. So you're saying she's a teacher teaching the ABCs to children? No, not exactly. So, oh, that's funny. That's really funny.
But it's she knows that I'm doing accounting because it's funny that she has her own business in Vietnam, and she always saying that she wanted me to do accounting so I can go back and work for her, but I never work for her.
Right. No, I mean, my mom too. She knows the CPA thing, but she's always asking, what audit are you working on right now? And I have to kind of say a lot happened concurrently throughout the year. But to the extent you have those people that do know, and then there's people in public, that's again, especially if you don't have someone at home or outside of work, being in public accounting, everyone's in the same boat. So in private, I'm sure if you were studying in private, it would be really hard because there would be so many other people at the organization that wouldn't even be invested in getting their CPA or not even in accounting. I'll say a lot of the majority people in public accounting are working toward that common goal.
Yeah, I could recommend, as you mentioned before, I could strongly recommend to pass the CPA exam sooner than later.
Totally.
So your responsibility will be more when you move up, and also it may limit or slow down your career growth as well, because you may need a CPA license to be a manager or both.
Exactly.
So yes. That's something that's strong motivation for you to get that CPA license. And also I know in public accounting, a lot of firms, they give bonus. If you pass the exam in the first year and then bonus going to
first 2 years, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Between getting the bonus and the materials subsidized, I mean, it's a really good deal because they understand the importance. This is the future of the public accounting, the CPA profession, and they want to invest in us to keep the profession going, to have CPAs at their firm.
Yeah. So
but I will say the one thing is, no matter where you work, that CPA belongs to you. So whether I go to a different firm, you leave public, once you have that, the CPA is yours. And that's something that you can be really proud of and no one can take away from you unless you do something illegal, but no one listening to this would do that. But it's yours. So it's not like no matter where you work, it's something that you just have there. It's with you for life and is a credential that really holds value and is respected in the business world.
Yeah, someone told me that the CPA license worth $1 million if you add up all the money, all the bonus, all the increase in salaries comparing with people who do not have CPA license.
Wow. I haven't heard that statistic, but I'm not surprised. There's a lot of money invested in people to be CPAs.
Yeah. And so you stay at Grant Thornton for only 2 years after the internship, and then you move to your current firm. Why
Yes.
did you make that move?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I knew that, and I'm in the CohnReznick Boston office, and Grant Thornton's just down the street right behind me. So I didn't go very far at all. I go to the same lunch spots. So, but I think I was looking for just a new opportunity. I'll say CohnReznick at the time was developing what they're calling their emerging markets practice, which focuses on life sciences, technology, and the cannabis industries, which was something that I was extremely interested in. And I think at the end of the day, it really comes down to the people you work with. I know we started talking about people and connections, and I always say to people, even here that I'm interviewing with, and that an audit's an audit's an audit. There might be a few different methodologies between firms, but a tax return's a tax return's a tax return. But it really comes down to the people, both internally and your clients. So making those important connections, CohnReznick, the people I met immediately, we clicked, and I knew that it was a reputable firm and that I could have a successful career here. So I knew I wasn't ready to leave, because I'll say when I was looking for a switch, it was like, do I go to private now? And after evaluating that, the answer was no. I was still an associate. I said I want to get to that next level of senior associate. So leaving did cross my mind, but I ultimately said, I didn't even apply to private accounting positions, only public. And I made that jump, and what? It's been almost 7 years later. So.
Wow. So I noticed that you jumped from audit associate to experienced assurance associate to the senior, and then to assurance manager. So you went through multiple promotions within the same firm. And so I just want to go through each promotion. How did you feel? For example, when you promote from experienced assurance associate to senior, how did you feel in the new position as a senior? And also, how did you communicate, react, or I would say leverage your role in the firm?
Absolutely. And it's interesting you asked that, because when I was looking to make the change from Grant Thornton to CohnReznick, I had almost 2 years of experience under my belt, and I was applying to different firms, and I'll say I came into CohnReznick as an experienced associate, but I had received other offers from other firms coming in at that senior associate level. And Rosey, you may ask me, are you crazy? Why didn't you go with that one? And I think I really am proud of my maturity back then, because I again tell people this all the time, is I came to CohnReznick, one, because I thought it was a great fit for me and I could have a very successful, long-lasting career here. But making the decision to go to a firm just because they gave me a title that was a level up, really maybe in the short term, it sounds great. I got promoted, I got whatever, the increase in salary. But in the long term, it wouldn't have benefited me. And I really thought, I said, look, I'm starting, yes, I have some experience, but I'm starting at a new firm here. And I want to prove that I can do the best I can do, and coming in at a new level with a different expectation, because going from the associate to the senior associate level really does require, it's different expectations. It's a lot more responsibility. So I didn't want to put myself in a position where I was going to go to a new firm and a new role and have all these expectations. So I did come in as an experienced associate, and I think that really allowed me to jumpstart kind of the later on promotion. So I came into CohnReznick as an associate. I was an associate at CohnReznick for about a year, and I think I was almost acting in a senior capacity in that year. So I was really able to prove and get used to the way CohnReznick does things, because again, there were a lot of similarities, but there were also things, different softwares, different ways of doing things, different processes that I needed to learn. And so I think in that first year, I was really able to master those. And then after a year, I was ready to go into that senior associate role. And so I went into that role really confidently, as opposed to maybe just doing that when I was switching firms. But so after that 1 year, I was able to go into that senior associate role really confident. I had a year under my belt at CohnReznick working on certain clients that I had done the work, which really provided me the opportunity to really understand how the work is done and be able to teach people and delegate in that senior associate role to say, okay, I did this testing last year. This is how you do it. So I think if I remember correctly, it was a long time ago, but I think I felt good going into that role. I felt like I deserved it. I think I worked really hard in that first year at CohnReznick, and I was very much recognized for those efforts too. With the promotion, I won an award internally at the company. So I think they absolutely recognized my efforts, and that allowed me to then go into being a senior associate and actually get early promoted to manager. I think I just was able to build on what I had learned, and I was a senior associate for 2 years and then got to that next level of manager.
Wow, I appreciate you shared that thought process, because a lot of people, when they jump from one firm to another, they're looking forward to the next level.
Totally.
So that makes perfect sense how you explain your thought process, why you still decide to be an experienced assurance associate for 1 year. I want to share a story of my friend that when she changed her firm, she literally just got promoted to senior like 2 months before she moved. And then when she moved to the new firm, they actually give her the position as a senior role, but she asked to be an experienced staff for the first 2 months. And so she can understand about
learn the ropes.
The new softwares and everything. And then after that 6 months, they promote her to be the senior. But at that time, she felt a lot more confident and comfortable in the new role. So it could go either way as well. But I don't think it's what people normally expect. So I appreciate you share that.
Yeah, and I commend your friend as well. I mean, it takes a lot of perspective and maturity and long-term looking to see that, look, this is your first impression at a new firm. You want to exceed expectations. You don't want to just be struggling, gasping for air at every second. You kind of want to master things, and that's awesome that within 6 months they said, yep, you're able to go. And so good for her. No, I really respect that.
Yeah, and then you got early promotion to manager. And I know that jumping from senior to manager, that's a huge jump comparing with from experienced assurance associate to senior. So I want to hear more about that, because I just got promoted to the manager as well. And then I was like,
congrats, Rosey.
Oh, this is very new to me.
It definitely is. And I'll say, you know how I said I felt confident going from that associate to senior associate role. I was definitely more nervous going from that senior associate role to that manager role. I said, especially because it was technically a year early, I said, are you sure I'm ready? And he's no longer with the firm, but my coach at the time, Kevin, such a great coach. And a coach was a signed mentor, but we had a great relationship. And when you join CohnReznick, you get a coach, you get a buddy. And so you have people on your team to advocate for you. But Kevin said, if we didn't think you're ready, we wouldn't be offering you the opportunity. And so I kind of just had to put all of my, I'm blanking on the word, the bias and the insecurity aside, and just say, all right, I'm going to jump in and do it. If they believe in me, I have to believe in myself. So I jumped in and I've been a manager for, I think this is going to be my 4th year. And I'll say, I think I'm ready for the next level of senior manager now. Again, I have a lot of experience and I'm hopefully going to make that happen this year and work hard this busy season and really prove that I'm ready to get to that next level.
Yeah, I feel like when I jumped from experienced associate to senior, it was not that difficult at all. I was like, it's not that bad. I pretty much still do the same job I'm doing. It's just more challenging work and then monitor some staff. But going from senior to manager, you literally just like managing staffs. And so it's like completely different hats. And I was like, how can I still get my job done when I still need to manage staff?
You're preaching to the choir, Rosey. So no, but I mean, it's a different skill set, because I think for so long we're used to just doing the work ourselves. And I'll say I struggle even to this day, less so now than I used to, because I know this is how it needs to go. But I used to have this mentality of, oh, I'd rather just get it done myself. It'll be done my way. But that's just not the most efficient and productive way to get things done. Yes, I will roll up my sleeves and do things and get my hands dirty when they need to get done. But how will the people that are seniors and associates below me learn and get to that manager role if they're not doing the work. So I think learning that skill set of being able to delegate and manage and multitask is critical for a manager, which you're not really typically as challenged with at the other levels.
That's so true. Yeah, it's so funny that your case is different from my case, that the people come to you and give you the opportunity, because I worked in private for 5 years before I jumped in public. So I'm always eager to move up to the next, because I feel like I already spent 5 years in accounting. It's not like in another career. So when I work in audit for the first year, very first week, I went to talk to my manager and partner. I said that a year from now, I would like to be a senior.
Yeah.
I had no experience about audit before, but I said straight, what do I need to do? I need your guidance and I need a map, but I'm going to work hard to do that. But a year later, I moved to tax.
You're like, I'm done with this audit stuff. I'll start in tax and then I'll make it to senior.
Yeah. And then when I moved to tax, it's the same mentality. I was like, something wrong with me. Why I keep doing this? But I work in tax. I was like, okay, I never have any tax experience before. Because working in private is some kind related to audit. It's different.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But in tax, I work, okay, give me a year. And after a year, I communicated that 6 months from now, I want to be a senior.
Yeah.
And then being a senior, I was like, after this period of time, I want to be the manager. And so I always give me the timeline that this is what I want. What do I need to do? How can I get there? And I promise you, if you give me the guidance, I will work myself really hard to get there. So
I love that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's awesome, to be honest. I mean, you know what you want and I had that mentality. I'll say this is the first year where it's like, okay, in the next year, I want to be promoted to senior manager. And I will do everything and anything it takes. And if I'm not going down that path, then please course correct me, because I want to get there, but I respect it a lot. I think probably coming from private, you had 5 years of experience and you're like, okay, I'm in public. I kind of want to catch up and see how I can accelerate my career here. I think knowing what you want and knowing what you need to do to get there is really commendable. So I think that's great.
Thank you for saying that. I know it's that some people appreciate that, but some people, they don't like that. They think that it seems to be too aggressive. And so I just want to give advice to people who are listening to this podcast and listening to my story that I'm just sharing, that when you deliver that message, make sure you know who you're talking with. And
Absolutely.
how you deliver the message is very important. So I learned from the first time when I was in audit, and I learned the second time when I work in tax, as like moving from associate to senior, and the third time moving to the manager as well. And
I think it's really just how you say it too. You present your case almost, and you say, look, this is where I'm at and this is where I want to be. And so it's how you deliver the message. I agree.
It's really important how you deliver the message. It can show that that you're going to work hard to get there, or you just want the title. And I do not just want the title. I want to work hard, that I deserve to get there. So that's why I ask for the map. I ask for the guidance. I just don't. If you come up to people and say that, hey, I want to be the senior, and you not going to do what
it takes. No way.
No way. They're not going to give it to you, and you're going to give a bad impression of the firm as well. So so that's what I was like. That's a good experience for me in public accounting.
I think that's great advice.
My goal as well. But but we talk about so much about your career path, and now you are the assurance manager and ready to move to the senior manager. That's so exciting. But I would like to talk more about the other side of this profession as well. It's about networking, about communication that we talked before. That if I didn't go to that networking event, I wouldn't meet you, and we would not have this conversation today.
Exactly.
But I know you have an article about networking, about communication. Can you share with the audience maybe the top 3 to 5 reasons why networking is so important in this profession?
I have to pull up my article. No, I'm just kidding. So, no, I mean, it's critical. Like I said, the relationships I built 10 years ago are benefiting me now today. And I'm hoping that I'm able to help those people I connected back then. So the reason why I would say for this profession specifically, networking is important is because as you move up, bringing in new business for public accounting is part of your expectations and responsibilities. So as a partner, you have a book of business, you're expected to bring in certain work, and work can come to a firm with a multitude of different ways. So, but I would think that through the jobs I work on, I'll get referrals from my current clients saying Hillary and her team did a great job. And whether it's, say, we're doing the tax work and they now need an audit and you refer it internally. But I think I want to have all my avenues open for allowing new work to come. So with that said, yes, I'm absolutely always open to having those referrals come. But I also, again, it's in my nature to kind of get out there and do the work as well. So going to networking events, speaking with people like you, just being in the room with other CPAs or companies, like I mentioned, technology industry events, manufacturing, whatever it may be, getting into those rooms and making the connections with people. Again, you might not go into a networking event and say, I walked out, I have an audit. That's not going to happen. But it's creating the relationship with those decision makers and seeing how you can help, what their needs are, and what you can do to help them. I'll say I am on the audit side, but say I meet someone and they might not need an audit. But what can CohnReznick do? I mean, CohnReznick and a lot of public accounting firms have such a breadth of resources and ways to assist. I mean, in the advisory service line, it's not even necessarily accounting. It's systems implementation. It's all sorts of things that if CohnReznick can ease their business issues or make their lives easier by helping, then we'd love to do that. And so I think the importance of going to the networking events is creating those relationships so that when someone needs something, when Rosey, you need something, Hillary comes to top of mind and CohnReznick and says, let me give Hillary a call. And she might not have exactly what I'm looking for, but let me just run it by her and see what she can do to help. I mean, just as a business advisor, not just as a CPA, an auditor, but what we can do to help the business.
That's so true. It's not just one person. When you know one person, you may know more than just one person because that person may know someone else as well and can refer someone else. So
I think just a general statement that it's not knowing the answer always, but it's knowing who you can connect someone with or where you can get the answer to help people.
Yeah, that's so true. I love networking events, and for the last networking event I took the train to Back Bay, and
yes,
it was so funny that I'm still learning the system in Boston because
was that your first time on the T?
It was not the first time, but probably the second or third. So
okay.
I think the first time that I took to Back Bay, so I was so nervous that I may miss it because normally I just took the T and then went all the way to the South Station. Yep. So I was like, okay, it's at the end. You couldn't go any further. But in Back Bay, I was like, okay, I need to make sure that I listen to the next stop.
Yep. No, that's great. And I'll say, networking, another item that I talk about is networking doesn't need to just happen in the confines of a networking event or a room. I mean, I've met people at airports. I've met people at social events. I talk to my friends that at their companies. And so I think it's almost just like a mindset. And again, you don't need to go into every conversation and say, hi, I'm Hillary. I am a CPA. What can I do for you? But again, I think creating relationships and people knowing what's important to you and what you do as a career and that your career is important to you, again, and them knowing how you can help in what capacity. Because a lot of friends that aren't CPAs, they might say, well, she's a CPA. I don't know what she could do for me. But I think just having that mindset and again, the connections you create over time, even outside the confines of a networking event, can be very worthwhile.
I agree. I think someone told me that talking about connections, you can connect with CPAs, but you may want to expand your connections to non-CPAs as well. And so you do not just narrow your circle of connection just within CPAs only, or
Totally.
accountants only. So because
And
you
that's why I
know-
love that Mass CPA's networking event, because it was women in finance, it was other industry groups that we could connect with as women in business.
Yes, and I think some of them are CFAs and some of them in finance, and they talk about all the finance. And I was like, oh my God, I'm a CPA, but I have no idea what they're talking about.
Right. But you can learn that way. You know the whole public accounting thing, so it's nice to learn from others as well.
Yeah, that's the beauty of networking event. And I know that we have like virtual networking events, and we also have in-person networking events. I always like in person. It's very different. It's always like significant impact for me when I come in person. You can see people in person. You can put the names with the face, and you can continue to talk, because I feel like when you do the virtual networking event, they have limited time for you to talk to group of people. So
Totally.
if you
No, I agree. I think there's pros and cons to both. There's definitely a convenience factor for virtual, but I think to make those meaningful connections, especially with people you haven't met before. We were able to hop on here and just chat easily because we had met in person. But when it's a larger group, especially for a networking event, it's hard to read body cues and no one wants to be the first to speak, where I think in person, it's a little bit of a more natural environment where people feel more comfortable. So I don't think that virtual networking events or interactions are going anywhere per se, but I'm a huge proponent in person networking and meetings as well.
Yes, I love that. I just want to say that if you actually do networking virtually, make sure that you do it intentionally. Whenever you want to see or talk to someone, schedule the follow-up meeting, maybe just 10-15 minutes just to talk to them, understand more about them. That could be help when you do the virtual networking event. By saying that, I meant it's either in person or virtual networking event. They're all good. You just need to take advantage of what you have and leverage that opportunities for the future growth. So yeah, I love that. We talk all about your career path and also your networking, communication tips and advice. Now I want to learn a little bit more about you. Like, what do you do for fun? And can you share something about you that most people don't know?
Well, I'm trying to think. Well, maybe for the listeners here, they wouldn't know this about me. So, I said I grew up in Maryland. I live in Boston proper. I live in Boston and going out to different bars and restaurants. I really love exploring all that Boston has to offer. I do have a 1-year-old puppy named Benny. Shout out Benny. And my husband said if I didn't shout him out either. So shout out Benny and Griffin. But he keeps our hands full, and he's a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel and the light of our life. So we have a puppy. And then really, right now it's freezing outside, but when it's not as cold, I love spending time outside, whether it's taking Benny to a dog park or playing pickleball or I grew up playing tennis, going for a walk on the Esplanade in Boston. Rosey, if you haven't checked out the Esplanade, you got to get there. Along the Charles River, the walkway along the Charles River. It's beautiful.
Is that in Boston?
Yes. So I'll have to take you there next time. So we'll bundle up. But yeah, just making the most of what's in the city and finding that work-life balance, as I'm sure we all do.
Yeah, work-life balance. And I think some people say it is work-life integration.
I like that. Yes. Work-life integration, making it work. We both have busy season coming up, so it's just understanding what things need to change to make that happen, and that doesn't last forever, and the sun will come out again. And so I like that work-life integration.
Yeah, I know. I remember you show me you even have your socks with the dog as well.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Oh, cute.
Some might say I'm a little obsessed with the breed, but yes, I grew up with a Cavalier, and so yes.
That's funny because I bought shoes for my dog.
Oh my God.
And then my husband I never saw any dogs with shoes. And it was like, wow, now you see our dog with shoes.
Yeah. Did she walk funny? Because
In the
it's
beginning, she
yes.
was very funny. She like, I forgot how to walk, something like that.
Exactly. It's funny. It's really funny.
Yeah, but and then like when you see like when we have snow outside, people put salt on the street, and so when you walk on it, it may hurt her skin. So that's why I put
Totally.
on for her. And if it's not too like no snowing, I normally don't put shoes. I have shoes on just for that purpose to protect
Right.
her skin. That's it.
Right.
And
No,
then-
it's important.
Yeah,
Totally.
I know. And I got her jackets as well. And
Oh yes. And sweaters, all of it. All of it.
I can talk about my dog all day long.
Yes.
Thank you so much for the interview today. Before we finish this interview, I'm just curious if you can give about 2 or 3 tips and advice to young profession how to advance their career in the accounting profession.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of these we talked about. 1, get your CPA exam done. 2, make connections early on. You never know where that connection may take you personally or professionally. And 3, I think work hard and have fun. I mean, it's a long career. Someone put it to me the other day that our careers on average are 40 years. So I think when you're young and you have less responsibilities, to really put the work in to accelerate your career and prove yourself. I think having a career, especially for women, is very important. And so challenge yourself and challenge some of those beliefs if you doubt yourself. And okay, 4, one more. Find mentors, whether they're within your firm, outside your firm, to lift you up and guide you. There's no way that you can make it through without someone to be there for you and show you the ropes and guide the way.
I love those tips and advice. Thank you so much for your time today.
Yes.
I had such a blast talking to you.
Thank you so much for having me, Rosie. This was great. Thank you.
Thank you.